Well, as lawmakers in Washington, D.C. push ahead on cuts to Medicaid, leaders here at home are sounding the alarm about the harm it could do for health care across the state. From the Olympia News Bureau, Murrow News fellow Albert James was in Seattle yesterday, where state leaders and Medicaid beneficiaries say the harm would go far beyond those who receive care through the program.
Our state will change in fundamental ways if this goes forward.
Governor Ferguson says 2 million Washingtonians are on Medicaid, but 200,000 of them could be kicked off by the end of next year if the cuts from congressional Republicans go into law. Federal funds make up over 60% of state Medicaid spending, and even with budget reserves, Washington doesn't have enough to backfill any large losses in funding.
If there is a fundamental change in Medicaid funding to the states, our rainy day reserve fund is not going to be a safeguard that protects individuals here in Washington state.
Staff with Seattle's Harborview Medical Center say reducing Medicaid eligibility ultimately affects all people, as those patients will end up in already overwhelmed emergency rooms.
Cutting Medicaid doesn't reduce the need for health care. It just shifts the costs, creating more illness, more disability, and more unnecessary suffering.
With hospitals all across the state already closing their doors because of financial trouble, Harborview leaders say accessing care will get harder for everyone.
If a rural hospital closes in eastern Washington, where I grew up, it's not going to impact just individuals who receive Medicaid. It impacts every member of the community. The entire hospital closes, the entire clinic closes.
Medicaid allows my son and so many other children and youth to live, be supported, and thrive in their communities.
Jen Chong-Jewel says she felt the need to share her story and wants others to do the same so people can understand how Medicaid works, especially as there's misconceptions about how challenging it is to access.
When you hear that there's these things happening, quote unquote, waste, fraud, or abuse, be curious about what that actually means and what those words mean, because these are human lives. We're more than just a data point or a number. We're human beings.
As the cuts move on to the U.S. Senate for their consideration, Governor Ferguson hopes the stories about the harm they would cause will make senators think twice about moving forward in what he calls a draconian way. In Seattle, I'm Albert James reporting.